guys. So first BNB of the year. So congratulations. Welcome to our new crew member, Matt, right here.
Woo!
Yay, don't drink yet. But let's get, I'll allow it. Okay, let's go ahead and get this year started with some spicy stories in 2023. I'm going to start with one of the spicier stories, but then we have the spiciest for the last. The first story of the evening is the Twitter breach. The first data breach of 2023, Twitter email leak, and unfortunately, just a couple of days following the end of 2022, another data breach, Twitter has occurred. More than 200 million Twitter users had their email addresses posted on underground hacker sites. I feel like there were more than 400 million. And it's been an insane time for Twitter. So what are your comments about this story?
So from my understanding, this is related to or similar to a breach that was announced near the end of last year. The big interesting part of the story is that a hacker started trying to sell 400 million accounts that they downloaded or scraped or accessed through Twitter's API. I don't know exactly how they got it. They started trying to sell it, but then they either got bored and decided to leak them or somebody else leaked them. Anyway, they're out there, they're leaked, they're being shared heavily for free. So congrats to the hackers.
How does this relate to like people getting laid off and Elon Musk take over and whatnot?
It has to be related, right? I mean, I think it doesn't have to be, but in my opinion,
It's
it brings attention, it brings a mindset of focus towards Twitter from the community, and somebody took action.
To my knowledge, the data may have been accessed before Elon bought the company. I don't know if we have any clear line of sight as to when the data was taken, but it certainly was leaked heavily beginning of this year. Frank, you're intimately involved, not involved, allegedly, you're intimately aware of this data leak. What do you know about it?
I have nothing to do with it. That was not my fault. I think Paul talked about this sometime over the week. The seller of the leak was directly threatening Elon Musk by using GDPR's potential fines as a sort of a leverage. Like you're already in the verge of paying a fine for the 5.4 million breach. Remember that? Buy me or face a 400 million users breach fine.
Yeah, it's fascinating when they can use, it's not really ransom, it's more just blackmail, right?
Exactly.
It's not ransomware, it's just blackmailing them because if they release the data, it's a fine.
So I have a spicy question. Could this be a previous employee of Twitter?
I feel like there's no reason to believe this took an insider. Twitter's had a number of instances where hackers have been able to use or abuse Twitter's API to get access to data that they shouldn't have. And so I think that this falls well within the realm of a hacker yet again found a way to exploit Twitter. But it is fascinating that the hacker is now threatening that they'll do something and Elon will be fined rather than, hey, pay me for a ransom.
And that's, to me, that's really intriguing, because it almost, you think about it that way, it almost starts becoming like a lawsuit plea deal. Like you know there's a certain dollar figure associated with these users. So if you want to settle with me for half of that, it's not worth taking it to court, right? So it's very interesting to play that route.
Is it illegal? Well, let me rephrase. Obviously, the data breach and the data leak, all that is questionable legality. But if you threaten to release data, or else they'll be fined if you do. It's a weird legal argument, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm gonna release this data, and then you're gonna be in legal jeopardy, not me. So it's a weird situation.
As opposed, go ahead.
Does GDPR define the amount of damage they're liable for?
No, the GDPR has some vague, like 3% of revenue or like $10 million cap, so.
Depending on like company size and revenue as well too, right?
GDPR is all about like the investigator and what the investigator decides.
What's interesting is this is almost another example of government interfering and setting a price similar to like pharmaceuticals. By getting involved, it actually puts a number on what that damage could be, and it would kind of set that for the overall market.
So there are some state governments that put a certain fine per account.
I think New York is one of them.
There's some laws that are coming into place that are putting a minimum price per account. And so, yeah, if each account's worth $10, then 400 million accounts is a pretty expensive data leak.
I feel like Frank, you have something to say and add on to that.
No, I was just remembering the hacker was asking for or saying something about a 260 million fine. If I'm not wrong, but I think that was pretty much the number he put on the 5.4 million breach.
Yeah.
You know, threatening like this would be much higher.
But we've seen with prior breaches that the amount per account or per person can change wildly, right? Like Wawa, they had a giant breach and a leak, and then they just sent everyone like a $5 Wawa gift card.
Really?
Yeah, great business model, by the way.
And by the way, if you give someone a $5 gift card, they're likely gonna spend more.
Right.
You can count that as a marketing expense and actually make money from it, right? So there's certain data breaches where people have actually made money from the breach. I don't think this will be one for Twitter.
I'm gonna move on to the next story.